Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Morgan Wolf. We do have some big breaking news in the sports world. The Gophers are now going to be on the hunt for another head hockey coach. Men's head coach Bob Motzko was just let go. He has been with the team since 2018. Now, in that time, he was the Big Ten Coach of the Year 3 times and had an overall winning record with the Gophers, but this past year was not pretty. It was the first time that the team did not make the NCAA tournament since 2019. Motzko did coach at St. Cloud State prior to the Gophers and also led the World Juniors to a gold medal in 2017. He is a Minnesotan and well respected in the hockey community. This is a very big move for the Gophers to sever ties with him. Our sports department is looking more into this story, and they will have more on it coming up on Kare 11 News at 4. Now to Washington, D.C. we go. A live look at the Capitol, where top U.S. intelligence officials are facing tough questions in congressional hearings about the war in Iran. Lawmakers are expected to demand answers about the strike on a school that killed more than 165 people and the FBI's capacity to prevent terror attacks inside the United States. It comes only a day after a top counterterrorism official, Joe Kent, resigned from his role, citing that his concerns over justification for strikes on Iran. Now, that hearing is going to be taking place in the Senate today. We will continue to follow it and have more for you coming up at 4. This afternoon, Iran is seeking revenge, though, after its top officials were killed in Israeli strikes. Iran's intelligence minister was killed last night, marking the third top leader killed in just 2 days. NBC's Ralph Sanchez has the latest from Beirut.
Iran is now confirming the death of its top security official as Israel continues to target the leadership of the Iranian regime. Ali Larijani was the head of Iran's National Security Council, but he was basically the de facto wartime leader of the Iranian regime, taking a lot of its day-by-day decisions following the killing of former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and with the new Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei wounded and potentially incapacitated. This is creating a major vacuum at the top of the Iranian leadership, and it's really not clear at this point who the United States could make a deal with inside of Iran if President Trump decided that he did want to engage in ceasefire talks. Larijani was by no means a moderate, but he was seen as a pragmatist, someone who could potentially play a similar role to that played by Delcy Rodriguez in Venezuela, someone inside the regime with whom the United States could do business. Iran retaliating with several strikes against Tel Aviv. 2 people were killed there in what Israeli officials say was an attack with cluster munitions. Here in Lebanon, the Israeli military pounding several targets in central Beirut, saying it was going after a financial institution linked to Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed militant group. At least 10 people were killed in those strikes, according to Lebanese authorities. And at this point, more than 1 million Lebanese have been displaced. That's around 1 in 5 people in this small country. Ralph Sanchez, NBC News, Beirut.
New today, the U.S. is clearing the path for more oil sales from Venezuela, attempting to boost oil supplies amid the war in Iran. The Treasury Department announced today that it will ease sanctions and allow state-owned oil companies to directly sell oil to the U.S. and on the global market. This comes after years of largely blocking any deals with Venezuela's government and its oil sector. Meanwhile, U.S. Central Command says that it has successfully deployed 5,000-pound bunker buster bombs targeting hardened Iranian missile sites along the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces said that those sites were holding Iranian missiles targeting oil tankers and sending oil prices soaring. This as President Trump lashed out on NATO allies for not sending the U.S. backup to help secure the waterways. This afternoon, gas prices are surging to their highest price, though, since 2023. Nationally, the average is creeping closer to $4 at $3.84 a gallon. Back here home in Minnesota, though, gas prices do remain steady at $3.43. Also happening this week, Minnesotans will soon be able to pay their respects to Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore. She was a soldier from White Bear Lake who died in the Iranian attack in Kuwait. There is a public visitation at Mueller Memorial in White Bear Lake tomorrow. That will be from 2 to 6 p.m. Then on Friday, Amor will be laid to rest in a private ceremony. Instead of flowers, her family is encouraging a donation to Operation Nikki's Embrace, which is an effort to build a greenhouse in her honor. We have a link to that on Kare11.com. Today, DHS nominee Secretary Mark Mullen is appearing before fellow senators at a confirmation hearing, promising to lead the agency differently from outgoing leadership. The senator said that he would like to see more cooperation with local agencies and noted immigration officers always need a judicial warrant to enter homes. Mullen also said today that he regrets the comments that he made about Alex Preddy after Preddy was shot by ICE agents here in Minnesota at the height of Operation Metro Surge.
You called Alex Preddy, quote, a deranged individual that came in to cause max damage.
I shouldn't have said that, and as Secretary, I wouldn't. The investigation is ongoing, and there is, like I said, there's sometimes I'm going to make a mistake, and I'll own it. That one, I went out there too fast.
Now, if confirmed, Mullen will replace Secretary Kristi Noem, who was fired from her role earlier this month. That was following months of heavy criticism over her handling of the department's immigration enforcement, especially here in Minnesota. A big move for one of Minnesota's biggest healthcare systems, Allina Health, saying that it will soon be acquired by California-based nonprofit Suter Health. Raya Katene has a look at more of what this means for patients and also their staff.
At one of Minnesota's largest healthcare providers, people constantly come and go.
I like to work with people. I think it's, for a lot of us, me included, it's really a dream job.
Dr. Matt Hoffman's job is caring for people as a family doctor at Allina Health. But he says with growing challenges like burnout from administrative workloads and less time with patients, he's now a leader of Doctors Council under SEIU, the union representing thousands of Allina's healthcare workers.
It's never fun to get called into a meeting 5 minutes ahead of time and get told your company's being acquired, especially when you're trying to care for patients under limited resources already.
On Tuesday, California-based Sutter Health announced its plans to acquire Allina to serve as its Upper Midwest division. In a joint statement, the two nonprofit healthcare systems say they will combine resources to expand specialty institutes, use AI to reduce administrative tasks for caregivers, and improve patient access and affordability.
Decades of research has shown in economics is that these types of mergers likely don't improve quality for patients at all, but one thing we do know with pretty good certainty is that they raise costs.
Associate Professor Saye Nikpay is a healthcare policy and economics researcher at the University of Minnesota. She says cross-market mergers involve healthcare systems in different areas joining together, allowing them to combine their influence when negotiating reimbursement rates with insurers. But bigger influence means more leverage, often leading to higher prices for patients.
All hospitals have been going through a period of turmoil, and that is because we are going through a seismic shift in healthcare financing right now.
Nikpay says broader financial pressures like changes to Medicaid are creating uncertainty for healthcare providers, as Hoffman says uncertainty lies ahead for him and his colleagues.
Concern about what this looks like, certainly for our jobs, our colleagues' jobs, the other healthcare workers' jobs, but also our patients. What does this mean for our patients? What does this look like for healthcare in Minnesota in general?
Now, in a statement, Allina has emphasized that this deal isn't a merger and said that the final structure has to be defined by an agreement that would be reviewed by regulators. Right now, Derek Thompson is back in court for his federal sentencing. Thompson was convicted of killing 5 women in a high-speed crash in Minneapolis 3 years ago. Prosecutors say that they are hoping to add more time to the end of his 58-year state sentence. Investigators say back in 2023, Thompson flew through a red light, going more than 90 miles an hour, hitting a van, killing all 5 women inside. A pistol and more than 20,000 fentanyl pills were also found inside his car. This afternoon, an investigation is underway in Lexington after a woman and a boy were killed. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office says that police were called to a home on Ryan Place just before 1 this morning, and that is where they found the woman dead and that boy hurt. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Police also say that they did find a man on the property who was taken into custody. They do not believe that this attack was random, but they have not said how or if the suspect knew the victims. Also, you got to check this out. Video of St. Paul here where crews are demolishing an abandoned CVS a couple of hours ago. Now, V8 Construction had planned to take the building down earlier this month, but then they had to push it back and then delayed it again after this weekend's snowstorm. The pharmacy has been closed since the spring of 2022. Neighbors telling us that it has become an area that does feel unsafe. We have crews talking with neighboring businesses and also people that live in the area. We'll bring you more on this story tonight at 5. A new report from the Office of the Legislative Auditor includes stunning revelations on how Minnesota's Department of Human Services handled kickback claims in autism centers. It says that the department refused to investigate reports of kickbacks being paid within its program, incorrectly believing that they didn't have the authority to do so. Lou Bergoose dug through this report and has the latest.
How much are you going to be able to pay back?
When Abdi Najib Yusuf and Asha Hassan started building up their fraudulent autism centers, they admit recruiting and paying kickbacks to families willing to enroll their kids to increase the amount of taxpayer money they could steal. Kickbacks have been proven to play a key role in defrauding welfare programs when criminal providers need real clients or patients.
Kickbacks have been illegal for decades.
Which is what makes the latest revelation by the Office of the Legislative Auditor such a head-scratcher.
Did DHS send the kickback cases to federal investigators?
In the 3 cases that we identified in this review, they did not refer any of the 3 cases to law enforcement or any other investigation agency.
And not only that, but they didn't even flag them for future
That's
investigation?
correct.
Deputy Legislative Auditor Catherine Tyson says DHS told her team they didn't believe until last year that they had the authority to investigate allegations of kickbacks. And it's not just within the Autism Services Program.
Does this seem to show that DHS wouldn't have investigated kickbacks across any of their programs?
That's correct. The laws that we are referring to, they apply to all Medicaid providers that are authorized by DHS.
It's actually a very narrow situation when there's only a kickback and no other evidence of fraud.
DHS Commissioner Shireen Gandhi admits disagreeing with the OLA's legal analysis, but says they're now on the same page and proposes some word change to the law just to be sure.
We put it in our legislative package, so we are acting on it right away.
Both the report and the commissioner say that DHS identified this as an issue back in 2019, yet DHS didn't change its rules and the legislature didn't change the law over the last 7 years to fix the perceived problem. Again, the auditors believe DHS had the authority to investigate these kickbacks all along. All right, well, we do have a heads up for everyone. Tax day is exactly 4 weeks away. And this afternoon, the IRS is saying that some taxpayers are facing refund delays as the agency is now phasing out paper checks. The IRS says that it has sent more than 830,000 notices to filers about refund delays. Now, these notices are asking people to provide banking details to the IRS to get the refunds deposited into a bank account. Otherwise, the agency says that you might have to wait an extra 6 weeks to get that paper payment. Now, after months of tense negotiations, the WNBA and the Players Union have reached a tentative new labor deal. The agreement is expected to significantly increase the player salaries, reflecting WNBA's growing viewership and rising attendance. Now, the final details of that deal are still being worked out, but the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, confirms to reporters that they were able to avoid delays for the upcoming season, which is going to be tipping off in May. Next, the agreement will be sent to the players and then the Board of Governors for a vote. Stick with us, everyone. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.